Ladies and gentlemen, you see before you a president whose transition from president-elect to president has gone really smoothly, unlike some other transitions in the world today. If it wasn't for the positive news about vaccines being developed successfully by several companies, it seems, I would have felt like a prophet of doom addressing you today. We now know that the arts, entertainment and recreation are among the hardest hit sectors during the pandemic, and also most probably those slowest to recover back to levels of 2019 again. The pandemic is now hitting us with its second wave. And here in Croatia, you have the aftermaths of a terrible earthquake to deal with as well. 2019 was a record year for the music industry, but sadly, the projections for 2020 show a sector in deep crisis. 1/3 of all royalty payments will be lost. Live and public performance royalties will be down by up to 80%. And the impact will continue well into 2021, possibly beyond, particularly as businesses that pay royalties struggle with their payments and many of them face bankruptcy. These numbers reflect a human and economic disaster in all countries. CISAC's members represent many more than just the big stars. These are the unseen millions of creative professionals who depend on royalties for their living. I know what it's like. I've been there myself, though it seems like an impossibly long time ago. I do remember what it was like to have money to last you a couple of months and needing that next gig so badly. I was a singer, songwriter, a producer, and a musician. I was simply whatever I had to be to pay the rent. But I was lucky. There was always a gig ahead. And then suddenly, after the Eurovision Song Contest in 1974, I didn't need it anymore. Royalties from the Swedish equivalent of HDS ZAMP made it possible for me and my friend and partner, Benny Andersson, to become full-time songwriters and artists. My contemporary colleagues don't have a next gig because there are no gigs. Live entertainment is dead. Streaming is no substitute for a live experience, but since it's the only thing there is right now, it's extremely important, and happily, it's likely to grow. And here I come to one of the most important tasks that I have as president of CISAC, which is to lobby for the EU Copyright Directive. This is being implemented by governments in Europe right now, and it's imperative that these governments don't water it down or backtrack on it. CISAC sees the user upload platforms like Facebook and YouTube as music streaming services, just like Spotify and Deezer, and that they should license copyrighted music the same way, which would be of immense importance for songwriters and artists. Strong forces, though, are lobbying against this. They like to depict us as giant, faceless, multinational copyright corporations. And it's my job to explain that behind those corporations, the end receivers of royalties are women and men of flesh and blood. They are the ones who write the songs, not the corporations. And songwriting is time-consuming. To be a professional, you need to have time to become really good at it. And that in turn means that you're completely dependent on royalty income. People often ask me if ABBA would have had the same success in today's music industry. I think it would have been very difficult, given that the competition worldwide is so much fiercer now than in the 70s. On the other hand, with few exceptions, we treated every song as a potential single, and in that respect, we weren't a typical album band. The streaming listener today is also extremely song-oriented, just like ABBA. In an international poll recently, listeners were asked if their choice of what to stream was directed by song or artist. And 60% said song, and only 28% said artist. So maybe ABBA would have had a chance, I don't know. Benny and I at least knew that the core of the music industry is the song. That's what guided us through the years. This is still true, and yet sometimes the songwriter is treated like the poor cousin from the country in the industry. He and she is in the periphery rather than at the center where he and she belongs. As president of CISAC and a songwriter at heart, I will do my utmost to change that. And with those words, I declare the 8th International Artists and Creators Conference in Zagreb open.